What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today, we are here for another episode of Let's Talk Dynasty. I see we got my boy Caleb in the chat. Caleb, what's up, man? Good morning. Super wild card weekend here, folks. Lots of football games to be played. Some of them today. We got Browns versus Texans, and then we also got Chiefs and Dolphins in what they say is one of the coldest games of all time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But that is not here, or that is not what we're here for today. What we are here for today is we are here to do a startup Superflex tight end premium PPR, yada, 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 rookie, or not a rookie mock draft, a startup mock draft. Sorry, I'm all over the place. But let me get my co-host in here. You know, it wouldn't be Let's Talk Dynasty if we didn't have that boy MFG Days in the building. So let me bring that boy in and let's talk some fantasy football, man. War, how you doing?
Yo, what's up, y'all? Y'all ready? Y'all ready to talk fantasy football? Let's go.
Man, we got people already over there in that sleeper. We just filled it very last second, so we finally got it filled, but we do got people in there. They're ready to draft, so we're ready to go. Real quick, War, before I click start on this Superflex, and let me share this so we can kind of see where we're at, but wanted to ask you, War, your thoughts on today's games. I just want a quick predictions. Who's winning? Browns versus Texans, who wins that one?
Oh man. Shoot. Man, I'm gonna go honestly, I think I'm gonna go Browns. And that one
Okay.
just nasty defense. I mean, I think with the Texans, you almost get a sense of like we made it, and that's our championship is us making the playoffs. So I think I'm gonna go Browns in that one. Just also experience.
Fair enough. And then what about the Chiefs Dolphins?
Because of the weather, I'm going to go Chiefs. I know the Chiefs have been struggling. I just think, again, they've been there. They've been in the playoffs. They've been in the cold. Tua almost have, you think about his entire career, like as a football player, he's primarily been in the warm climate. Even in Alabama, it's more warm down there. Now he has to go play in like below temperature weather. Like, yeah. I think this like Tyreek is going to be the only one that's like, okay, maybe a little bit used to it. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Chiefs there, despite how both of the teams been struggling. So I'm going to take the struggling team with experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you guys wanted to put a little 2-leg parlay out there, why not just go simple, easy Browns money line, Chiefs money line? Why not? But we got it here today. We're here to do this Dynasty Startup Mock Draft, Superflex Tight End Premium PPR, and here we go. We're gonna hit start on this draft. Actually, first and foremost, let me turn the audio off because it always be doing that stupid audio glitch. But there we go. So we're here in the startup Superflex. You see Josh Allen's the first guy off of the board, and I'm interested, War. I see you chose the 108. Do you have a reason why you picked the 108, or was it kind of just something that you just picked randomly?
I like to be in the middle of the draft. I feel like I can get a nice collection of players that are in the right ranking when I'm just dead in the middle versus being at the top or at the bottom.
Okay, and you see, look at that, man. 102 CJ Stroud. How do you feel about that?
That's kind of crazy.
You think it's crazy?
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, man.
A
little bit crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. CJ, to me, I'm already there with CJ being that dude. It's just that I think there's a lot of prisoner of the moment going on here because I see some dogs still available at the quarterback position. So,
yeah, I don't know if I'm at the point, man. Like, I know a lot of people have CJ up in that tier right now, and I don't know if I'm at the point right now where do you have the audio on, like the pick audio on your phone playing?
I do. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good. I kept hearing it, and I'm like, I thought I turned mine off. But
yeah, no, it's me.
You're good. I'll let you pick, but I'll just finish this point. I think I've seen a lot of people where Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, that kind of top tier. Jalen Hurts, you throw him in that tier too. I think I've seen a lot of people put CJ Stroud up there right now, and I get it. I mean, you see the rookie year that CJ Stroud has had, and a lot of people are excited. A lot of people are ready to kind of throw him in there right away. And I I don't know if I'm there yet. I mean, I recently did a quarterback tier list a couple of weeks ago, and I have my superstar tier of fantasy football quarterbacks, just the 3. It's Josh Allen, Mahomes, Hurts to me. I think there's a chance that CJ can get there, but I'd rather temper the expectations coming out of a rookie year. I don't know if we want to crown him there yet, but if you think that, I mean, I have no problem with you, if you have that kind of conviction on CJ Stroud. That's just, for me, I'm not really making that pick yet.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. But CJ is a dude for sure.
So I am on the clock here, man, and it's tough for me. I think really what you see is kind of what we've been seeing. It's all the quarterbacks go, and then it's coming up to my pick, and now it's like, do you dip into that next tier quarterback, which I think you probably do.
It's crazy though, isn't it?
It,
Like a year ago this time, no brainer. Justin and Trevor Lawrence
were the guys.
would have been gone. But now we kind of see that both of those guys might not be turning out to what we thought they were going to be. So
I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take the top guy in my next tier of quarterbacks. I'm going to go Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson's fantasy ceiling is higher than what Trevor Lawrence is at this point. So I'm going to take A-Rich, and I typically like to double tap the quarterback position. I like setting up with multiple quarterbacks, especially in these super flex, but I'm going to do something a little bit different today because I think that there's one guy who's still at the very top of a tier by himself, and I'm going to take AJ Brown, and I'm going to go Anthony Richardson and AJ Brown to start off my draft.
Not bad.
I see we got Caleb in here. Caleb says Chase is still the wide receiver 2 over Lamb for me. Do you still agree with that, Ward? Do you think Chase is over Lamb still?
Oh man, see, I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment. So for right now,
I do think so.
I'm going to say yes, but I wouldn't blame anybody who wants to put Lamb over Chase at this point.
I think Lamb has earned his way into that S tier of wide receiver. I think that top tier is Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, but I don't think he's surpassed Jamar at this point. I prefer Jamar Chase being tied to Joe Burrow more than I prefer Lamb being tied to Dak Prescott. And I also I have a hunch that the Bengals are going to be moving on from T. Higgins this offseason. So I think that Jamar Chase will get a larger target share. And you see Tom Brady comes off the board. So just for you folks at home watching this, if you draft a retired player, that means you drafted a rookie pick. So that is the 101 war. So that is probably going to be Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison right there.
Okay. So you know what? Okay. So that makes sense now.
So how do you feel about getting Caleb Williams at the 2-3? Do you think that's, I'm assuming, he picked quarterback. I'm assuming meaning that's going to be Caleb Williams' pick. How do you feel about Caleb Williams at the 2-3?
I don't think that's a horrible, I don't think that's bad at all. What I'm about to do is also not bad.
And you're going to go Marvin Harrison, huh?
I am. I'm going to pick the only guy who has a potential to leapfrog CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase.
Okay. All right. I like it because I think both of those guys are like super, super, super like blue chip stock type of prospects. These are guys that we almost, you obviously can't guarantee anything in the NFL or in rookies or whatever, but we can almost guarantee that these guys are going to be successful at the next level.
Chip going to make noise in the NFL.
And what do you feel about this? I just noticed we had Trevor Lawrence fall all the way to the 2-6. Dubridge ends up landing Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. Have we fallen that far on Trevor Lawrence that we're picking Dak Prescott and these guys over T-Law now?
It's tough, man. I think you fall into one or two camps. Either he's still a generational prospect. This is just a rough year where he had injuries and and things of that nature, or you fall into the camp that Trevor Lawrence is closer to being the QB2 than the QB1.
Yeah, I think I was talking with Marshall the other day, and I was talking about Trevor Lawrence, and I said at this point for me, in my dynasty leagues where I do have Trevor, I feel more comfortable with him as my quarterback 2 than I do with him as my quarterback 1. And I think that's just, I don't know, man. I just think that that's kind of what he's shown us so far. Now, I'm interested to talk about this piece here as we finish the Trevor Lawrence piece. But do you think that there's even a chance that T-Law can get better? I mean, Calvin Ridley is a free agent going into this offseason. There's some other things that probably need to be figured out. Like, do they re-sign Ridley? Did Ridley do enough that they're going to pay him a bunch of money to stay there?
I don't know about a bunch of money.
Maybe he just gets a little bit of money to stay in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, or just choose to go somewhere else because they're not offering him the money. So,
but if he goes somewhere else, that hurts Trevor, right?
Yeah, it does, man. It's just, but what if there's already something there hurting Trevor? Like, I understand that. I don't want to always be it has to be the coach guy. Trust me, I'm a Bears fan. It's always the coach and not the player. That's just how Bears fans think. But Trevor just had a weird year, man. I kind of don't know if that development is happening. Okay, here's the thing. We've seen Trevor Lawrence be who we thought he was going to be before. We've seen it. And unlike with Fields, in the playoffs, high pressure moment, unlike Fields, he did it, from the pocket. He didn't do it like with his legs. So it's like that guy is in there. So now the question is, what's going on with the development? Why aren't we seeing that guy consistently? Then he's getting hurt. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the building of the team. That offensive line isn't good enough. I think there's a lot of pieces on that team that isn't good enough.
I agree. I think, they just got to continue building that team. It's funny because I was kind of in a debate with this the other day with some folks over at BDGE, but you talk about the potential Caleb Williams going to Chicago thing. And it's like, you hear about this whole, do you want to add the quarterback and then build the team? Or do you want kind of like what the Panthers did with Bryce Young, right? Like they added the quarterback and now they have to build a team around Bryce. Or do you want to build the team and then add the quarterback, kind of what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes? Like they added and what Green Bay did with Jordan Love. Like they waited until Jordan Love was ready. Speaking of Jordan Love, just comes off the board. And then they put him into the team when it was ready. Like what is more important and what is more successful at the NFL level? Do you think getting your guy when you can get your guy and then you build the team around him? Or do you think you have to build the team first and then put a quarterback in that situation?
I like build the team first. And I also want to add the Bears to that list. Believe it or not, despite them only getting 7 wins this year, I think that team is ready-made for like a quarterback to come in there. And their quarterback and the offensive coordinator away. The defense finished as like one of the top defenses. They have a now cemented wide receiver 1. They have the ability to add another high-end wide receiver, honestly, with their own pick, not the pick that they would take Caleb Williams with. And I think that is the right way to go about it. And I think that actually brings up another point. And I want to jump point on this before we get too far away from where Caleb Williams was picked in our draft.
You're on the clock right now. I'll let you know you're on the clock.
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and grab that. He hasn't declared yet. So, like, I'm kind of like, so is that person going to pick 1.1 if it comes out that Caleb's just like surprises everyone and doesn't declare
or doesn't come out? I don't know, man. I think he's going to declare. I think he's just getting some leverage right now. That's really what my thoughts are. But
me too. But I also think like it's kind of like not the greatest look in the world either.
I agree. What are you thinking here?
Slim Pickens at quarterback.
It is Slim Pickens.
It's like, do I trust that Bryce Young still has a future? That's like the key question. Or do I want to take like, God, I don't want to do this again. I feel like I do this in every draft every year. Do I want to take Jalen Waddle? Crap. And my time is ticking.
TikTok.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Waddle.
Okay.
But
all right.
I couldn't think of a retired player quick enough to put it to
make Drake May.
Yeah.
Look, I got some of the queue. Look, Adrian Peterson, Robert Griffin, LaShawn McCoy, Tavon Austin. I got guys in there, man.
Yeah, see, that's what I would have did, guys. I would have took
Gronk off the board.
Drake May right there.
Drake May. Or Jaden Daniels or Malik Neighbors, one of these guys. But, man, we haven't talked about some of the picks that have come off the board, so I want to talk about some of these ones. Some of the ones I found interesting. Jahmyr Gibbs all the way up at RB3. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I mean, he has to continue to – that coaching staff has to continue to use him as the weapon he is. I don't feel like they've been doing that.
I agree. I think it's a good pick. Right now, Jahmyr Gibbs is my running back 2 in Dynasty. He's my RB2 in Dynasty. So I think that's a good pick. How do you feel about Puka Nacua all the way at the 3-2 over guys like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Brandon Ayuk?
I said you better be sure that's not a one-hit wonder. I don't think it is. I think Puka Nacua
he's the real deal?
The guy in LA. I think that he's that dude. And but could you have gotten him a little bit lower? This is what I want to know. Like, or somebody else gonna take him? Like, that's what I have to question. Maybe not though.
Here you go.
Over Jalen. I mean, honestly, would I take him over Jalen Waddle? Yeah, probably. Oh, that's a good pick, Andrew.
Purdy.
Like, honestly, why was he so low on the list to where I didn't see him?
I don't know, because you were talking about quarterback, and then I was like, damn, I got to go get Brock Purdy while I'm sitting here looking at it. But I think I'm just going to keep loading up I have my quarterback 1, my quarterback 2, a rushing upside guy, a safe floor, Brock Purdy, who's probably a low-end QB1. I got a high-end wide receiver 1 and A.J. Brown, and I think I'm going to just finish this off. I mean, we haven't had any other guys come off the board at this position. I think this guy is the tight end 2 in Dynasty Fantasy Football, and it's a tight end premium league. Should I just add TJ?
Yeah, man. TJ, man, he's top 3, man. It's going to be crazy, man. I think the tight end renaissance is in full swing, man. I think we're going to get to the point where at least half the league has a stud tight end.
Okay, so I recently, this is a sneak peek. So if you guys have been watching my tier list ranking videos that I've been doing for the positions, I have Anthony says Laporta over Hawk, and I agree. I think Hawk is number 2 though. And Laporta's already off the board. But with that being said, here's a sneak peek to the S tier of or tight ends that I have for my tight end position. And Ward, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I have 3 S tier, top tier tight ends in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now.
Okay.
Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, and I still have Mark Andrews there. But Travis Kelce is no longer an S tier. I don't think we can count Kyle Pitts as an S tier.
No.
Kincaid hasn't worked his way up into that tier. And a lot of people want to put Trey McBride up there right now, but I'm pumping the brakes on McBride just a little bit because we only saw about half a season for it.
McBride is still in the cold commit tier to me.
So do you think that S tier that I have right now, Laporta, Hawkinson, Andrews, do you think that's right, or should Kelce still be there?
I think that that tier. I think your top.
You are on the clock, by the way.
Oh crap! Okay, let
30
me
seconds.
Oh, see, man. All right. All I kind of knew what I was going
Matthew
to.
says he has Laporta, Hawkinson, and Engram in a league. Dude, I feel that because I'm in a league where I have McBride, Laporta, and Mark Andrews. It's a tight end premium league. And I'm like, dude, I need to trade one of these guys for something. There's no point in having 3 top 4 tight ends or 3 top 5 tight ends. And War, I see you go Bryce Young. So talk to me about that.
At this point, man, he was just the number 1 overall pick last season. Honestly, I didn't see anything, and you're more of an expert on Bryce Young than me because I just wasn't going to take the guy last year. But I'm taking him here because he was the number 1 overall pick just a year ago. I personally feel like I haven't seen anything from Bryce Young that would suggest that Bryce Young is a bust. Let me explain that a little bit. I think that when you watch Bryce Young struggle, you can almost clearly see that it has to do with just the ineptitude of the team itself. Like, I didn't see Bryce Young out there, looking like Mitch Trubisky. I didn't see that. Like, right. I feel like I seen a guy with talent that just didn't have enough around him. Like,
no,
Adam Thielen,
I agree.
God bless his soul. And I know you love him. God bless his soul. The guy was considered washed up heading out of Minnesota, and he's your leading receiver over there. I mean, that's a testament to Carolina not having enough versus a testament to Adam Thielen like recapturing his glory.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, like I don't want to make excuses for Bryce Young because we kind of said how the Texans weren't a good situation coming into the NFL, and CJ Stroud made it a good situation because his play was that good. Now, I don't necessarily think that everybody has to do that. I mean, we've seen top number 1 picks come in and struggle with teams first year. Hell, Trevor Lawrence did it with Jacksonville, right? Like Trevor Lawrence came in under Urban Meyer, bad situation, wasn't a lot of help, and everybody was like, well, what the hell's going on with Trevor Lawrence? And he's turned out to be okay, man. Like it's I don't think anybody's calling Trevor Lawrence a bona fide bust at this point. I think we're saying, is he going to live up to the generational prospect? It's still in debate, but nobody was calling Bryce Young a generational prospect. Let's be honest. Right. But with that being said, I mean, you watch kind of what Bryce Young had to go through this year. This is a guy who does well when he's getting time to make that accurate read, get the ball out. Like he's a very accurate quarterback. He's not a guy who is going to wow you and beat you with his arm talent. He's not going to beat you. He can run, but he's not going to beat you with his legs like a Lamar Jackson. So he needs to have a constructed offensive line in front of him that's going to give him time to make those reads and make that right, smart decision, that play every time. And that's where Bryce Young excels. Now, the Panthers offensive line was horrible this year. Like Bryce Young was getting no time. It's almost every single time that he snapped the ball, a defender was in the backfield every single time. So he was having to get off a script, run out, kind of extend plays with his legs, make, little check down plays to Chuba Hubbard and all these other motherfuckers. Like it wasn't good for Bryce Young. Like you said, it was a bad environment. And meanwhile, he's throwing to Adam Thielen. Jonathan Mingo wasn't doing what Jonathan Mingo should have done. DJ Shark missed time. He's throwing to Laviska Shenault. Hayden Hurst missed time, like throwing to Ian Thomas. It's a bad situation for Bryce Young. Now, the question is that going to get better in the future? They don't have a first-round pick this year. They don't really – I mean, who are you going to bring in as the head coach? Are you going to have the cap space, and are you going to be able to bring in potential free agent signings like a T. Higgins or something like that? I don't know if there's enough glimmer to playing in Carolina other than like maybe I just give you a shitload of money to come play. But it's going to be interesting to see how they build around Bryce Young, but it's definitely not a good situation. But I think you're right. It hasn't been Bryce Young's fault at this point for his play. It's just been a bad situation around him that he hasn't been able to elevate himself out of.
Question you have to ask is, are they in danger of ruining him before they can fix it? And I think that's the danger element to drafting Bryce Young, because if he gets I think consider what we thought might happen to him because of his size going into the season. I think that this season has been kind of a success as far as like him not being like completely physically destroyed. So now it's just like let's build around him to give him the time. I think you almost have to put him into as close of a Brock Purdy situation as you can. Surround him with weapons. Let him use that precision passing to make progress and to, get some yards and, score some touchdowns, because I think that's what you have to do for Bryce Young.
Right. And you even got to think too, like even some of the help that they did try to get him this offseason, Miles Sanders and things like that, like they didn't pan out either. So like it's the investments that they've made to kind of surround Bryce Young as a rookie really didn't work out, other than Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen surprised people, surprised me. I didn't think Adam Thielen was going to be as good as he is. But even then, I don't know if you've seen the interview. Adam Thielen's in the locker room talking about, I came here because I was hoping that, at year one, we build around, year two, we have a rookie quarterback and we can actually make a run at a playoff spot and da-da-da. Like, it sounds like Adam Thielen doesn't want to be there. And so it's like, if they lose Adam Thielen and Adam Thielen's like, yeah, I only have a couple more years left in my career, I want to go try and get a ring. It's not going to be in Carolina. So are they going to have to trade Adam Thielen? Is he going to want out? Is he going to want released? And then if that happens, like, your best receiver is Jonathan Mingo at this point, and that's not good.
No, it's not. And like, at what point, like, do you think they're going to actually be able to build around this kid? I don't know. They did not think they were going to be number one overall pick bad. I'm pretty sure they didn't think that, or else they wouldn't have traded that asset. Imagine if they had their own first round pick. Now we're talking about, first of all, they weren't getting that pick if they had Bryce Young. So they would have just been straight up taking Caleb, which is, man, that's how it is in the NFL. You never know. Any decision you make could either ruin you or make you. Bears better take heed to that.
Yep, I agree. Let's talk about some of the picks that have come off the board. It's been a little while since we recapped some of these. So I had Purdy come off the board. After that, I think the next big one would be the Rob Gronkowski coming off the board as a rookie pick. It's probably a Brock Bowers, a Malik Neighbors, something like that. Then we came down the board a little bit. You think so?
No, I was told directly from the source.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So then you had Kyler Murray come off the board. It's kind of honestly. Oh, wait, I'm going the wrong way. I was like, why did I take Brock Purdy over Kyler Murray? I was about to be mad at myself. So I'm going the wrong way. So then we come back around. Julian Edelman comes off the board at 4-4. So that's another rookie.
So that got to be Neighbors, unless I confuse somebody by taking a quarterback.
Look at Vegas Sinatra here, man. Going CeeDee Lamb, Bijan Robinson, rookie. This man's just building around the youth.
That's the Vegas Sinatra style.
That's the Sinatra exclusive, man.
The Sinatra experience.
So then we had your Bryce Young. We talked in depth about that. Back-to-back, DK Metcalf, JSN. I think that's interesting because to me, I also have these guys back-to-back in my own personal rankings.
Interesting.
So I think that's interesting. Adrian Peterson off the board as a rookie. T. Higgins, ETN, Kirk Cousins comes off the board. And then Drake London, Trey McBride over Mark Andrews. How do you feel about the Trey McBride over Mark Andrews pick?
I don't like it.
No?
No.
I don't like it either, but I guess I don't mind it because to me, Mark Andrews is my tight end 3. Trey McBride is my tight end 4. It's a different tier, so I think you do get a pretty decent downgrade here between the two. But I do have them back-to-back in my rankings, so to each their own. Kenneth Walker off the board. Ben Roethlisberger, so we go another rookie here.
Bridge, my guy, taking DJ Moore, my guy.
And then Travis Kelce, Jordan Addison, DJ Moore. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And you see Anthony in the chat over here. He says, kind of going back to the Bryce Young call out, and you're on the board, by the way.
I'm about to run to the podium.
He says T should sign with Carolina, be their wide receiver 1, and get the bag as far as the money goes. I think that's the best case scenario for Bryce Young is they land a guy like T. Higgins, they land a guy like Mike Evans or somebody like one of these really high name free agent wide receivers. If they can land one of them, that's ideal.
I'm real conflicted about what I'm about to do.
I thought you said you were running to the podium.
I did. I ran to the podium and I started slowing down as I got closer.
He ran to the podium and then he said, wait a minute. I guess I should
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I did it.
All right,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, I'm sorry. I mean, I understand the likelihood that you guys are getting a new quarterback and that, you know, he might be better than Desmond Ridder. But if you pick the wrong quarterback, then it's going to be more of the same. I'm taking a guy who has the quarterback, who might potentially be losing the wide receiver. I'm taking Dalton Kincaid.
There you go. I like it. I think Dalton Kincaid already, and you tell me if I'm tripping. I think Dalton Kincaid is a top 5 tight end in Dynasty right now already.
I agree. That's why I took him.
And you got him as tight end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got him as 6. So a little bit of a value.
I'm taking him over Trey McBride. That's for sure.
Are you taking him over Kelsey? I think at this point, I'm taking Kincaid over Kelsey.
I am. And
Kelsey
maybe Kelsey talking about like there's rumors that he might retire after the season. So
I heard that. So I've heard that they really ideally the brothers Jason and Travis, ideally they'd get a chance to do that Super Bowl rematch, and then they would both leave because there was rumors that they were going to retire last offseason after they had played each other in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. And then it's just to quote Ben Roethlisberger from like I forgot how many years ago. Once you start thinking about retiring, you're retired.
Yeah, it's too hard to pull yourself out of that.
And I mean, and it lines up too, Andrew. It lines up because if he was thinking about retiring after the Super Bowl last year, then this year he's taking a step back. So it's already like in the process of happening. He's already halfway checked out.
Yeah. You see Matthew here. He says Kincaid has way more weapons to compete with. And I would disagree.
I think one of those weapons is going to leave.
Well, Gabe Davis is a unrestricted free agent this offseason. So I think Gabe Davis is gone. I don't think they pay him. And then you're saying that you think Stephon Diggs is leaving?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, then they would have to bring another guy in. Keenan Allen off the board. I'm on the clock, and I've been waiting for this guy. I'm glad that we are at this point in the talking points because it's getting fucking disrespected, man. I have to go Stephon Diggs. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing, man? Like,
that's crazy because I thought about taking Diggs when I took Waddle. I was like debating that.
I don't know what we're doing. I want to pull up a couple other of these guys. I think another guy that I'm going to draft right now that I think is a little bit undervalued, especially after what he's put together this year. I'm going to go with my guy, Michael Pittman Jr. So up to this point, I have AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman Jr. I feel like I have 3 wide receiver ones on my team right now. So I want to talk about Stephon Diggs, and Kyren Williams comes off the board. Kind of a good value on Kyren Williams if you believe him being the guy long term. But I think Diggs is being disrespected, man. I know that
there's a lot of disrespect going around.
And I felt like this with the way that his fantasy football season ended. Not performing well in the fantasy playoffs and burning a lot of managers that way. People who are relying on him to, win their championship. And shit happens. I think sometimes guys get bad stretch, unfortunate timing. But everything that we've seen on the field from Stephon Diggs has shown that he has not lost a step of talent. But you got to remember that they had the offensive coordinator change from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady. And since they switched to Joe Brady, Stephon Diggs, that's when he saw the decline in targets, not a decline in talent, a decline in targets. And that's scheme. That's not talent. And so I think that's going to be fixed in the offseason. Or like you said, if it's not fixed, I don't know if Diggs plays there. But this is a guy who's, when he plays, bro, like he's a top 10 fantasy football wide receiver. He's one of those ones. And I think getting him this far, I mean, look at how many fucking wide receivers were drafted before I got Stephon Diggs. There's 20-something wide receivers drafted before I take Diggs. It's just a value at this point.
That's kind of crazy.
And so
crazy.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. But and
I
then
said
Michael
there's a
Pittman
lot of
Jr.
disrespect going on around here with these picks.
And then Matthew says Josh Allen runs more than Murray. I agree, but I also think that Josh Allen throws more than Murray as well. But to each their own. I mean, I personally have Trey McBride above Kincaid, but you said, War, you have Kincaid over McBride.
Yes. I do. I absolutely do have him over McBride. I mean, I've seen a lot of tight ends and players like pop off in the second half of the season and come back and underwhelm. I believe in the guy throwing the ball to Kincaid more than I believe in the guy throwing the ball to McBride, which I believe in Kyler Murray too, but he's not Josh Allen. And I think that weapons room for the Bills is going to change, especially if they don't go far in the playoffs.
Fair enough. So what are you doing here?
I'm taking a rookie. I was just looking for the right retirement plan to take. That's what I do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm assuming. Let's see where we are.
So we had 101 Tom Brady, 102
Caleb
Drew
Williams,
Brees,
Harrison Jr.,
103 Gronk, 104 Edelman.
He's probably taking Neighbors.
105
or
Big
Drake
Ben.
May.
You drafted 106 Antonio Brown.
Yeah, so I'm going to either take Jaden Daniels. I'm probably going to take Jaden Daniels or Drake May, whichever one is there.
Yeah, because I think personally right now in your Superflex tight end premium rookie drafts later this summer, it's going to be Caleb, Marvin, May, Daniels, Neighbors, Bowers, and then probably Rome Odunze.
Yeah, and I think that's the 6 that are most likely to be stars. Though
I just named 7.
Wait, hold on.
Daniels. Actually, let's start from the top. Caleb, Marvin, okay. That's 2. Then we had May, Daniels, that's 4. Odunze, Bowers, Neighbors, 7.
Okay, that's 7. Yeah, that's 7. So I mean, I think there's a drop after the top 7.
And with that being said, Matt Ryan taken at the 6'10", so that is your 7th. So we assume those 7 guys are all off the board at this point.
Yeah.
And then we had Tyjon Evans, so I'm assuming that's 108. Is this
Who would be your 108 if you were in the rookie draft?
108 right now. I think in Superflex, at that point, you're probably starting to look at Michael Penix. You're probably going to start looking at. It's tough for me, man, because at 108, I was that was almost where I was instantly plugging in Emeka Egbuka. He's going back to school. Another guy that I liked in the late first was Trevion Henderson. He's going back to school.
Yep.
And so I think it's getting interesting there. I think other guys that you would look at would be like Troy Franklin from Oregon, Xavier Worthy from Texas. Again, like I said, Michael Penix. I think those are kind of the guys you look at right now. In a tight end premium, if he gets the draft capital, which I expect him to get the draft capital, I'm thinking you could start having a conversation. And I don't know if the community is this high on him yet. And mark my words, I say yet, because I think he's going to start creeping really highly up these drafts, especially as we get to the combine and we get the draft capital and things like that. But Jatavion Sanders, tight end out of Texas, I think he's going to creep up draft boards pretty high, especially in these tight end premium leagues, because a lot of people are going to see similar things out of Jatavion that they see in guys like Kyle Pitts, David Njoku, like Trey McBride. Like, I think he's going to test similarly to those guys, and it's going to get people excited because when you get the big tight end, that's the athletic profile, everybody loves it. And so I think of like even the hype that Jonnu Smith was getting when he was in Tennessee, right? Like it's going to be like that. And people, especially at a position, there's not a clear I think especially now where, you said we're in the tight end renaissance, it's not really clear who are the top guys. People are going to want to take shots at finding the next top guy and getting one of those. So I think JT Sanders could go pretty high up there too. But yeah, man, as we come around this turn, we talked about some of those picks. I think that's a good value on Zay Flowers. He was somebody I was looking at as well when I was kind of looking at Pittman. We had Njoku off the board over Kittle, Bilal Powell, which is the 109. And then we had Rashee Rice and Jaden Reed back to back. How do you feel about these guys? This is a cool tier right here. I think Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed, Deebo Samuel, Nico Collins, like this tier of wide receivers I think all of these guys are at a good value right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's kind of surprising seeing some of these guys taken down here because in years past they might have been taken a little higher. Well, not the young guys, but like I actually was looking at George Kittle when I took Dalton Kincaid, and he dropped 2 rounds later. So
fair. I look, man, I think it's just we're getting to the point where like not that we're like waiting on these old guys to get, washed up or whatever, but like we've just had an influx of young talent over the last 3 or 4 years that those guys that we've been used to being the top guys, they're getting older, and then the young guys coming in, it's, pushing them for the top spots. I think we're seeing a little bit of a switch right now, and I think we'll continue to see a little switch over, especially as this 2024 rookie class comes in, because you have guys like Bowers, Neighbors, all those guys that we've talked about already. And then in 2025, like we have another good rookie class coming in 2025. So I think over those next 2 years, like especially you'll see guys like Kittle, Kelsey, even like think of guys that we've been very high on in the past. He hasn't been drafted yet, but like Aaron Rodgers and things like that, like they'll start to trickle out of the league, and it'll be that new up and coming guy. And then weird enough, the vets will be like the Mahomes, the Allens, those guys. Those will be the veterans in the NFL. So I'm up on the board. Talk to me a little bit, War, about the Devontae Adams pick.
I mean, I'm surprised he's there. I mean, I was looking at him like 2 rounds ago, and he's still there. And that's what I mean about guys falling. I mean, come on now. Like the Raiders quarterback situation more than likely will be better than it was last year. And I expect, or this guy's going to be on the Jets. Like whatever the situation is, I feel like there's going to be better opportunity for him next season. And I don't know why he's fallen that far. This guy was just the best wide receiver in the NFL not too long ago.
Yeah, I agree. Trying to figure out what I want to do with my next pick. Probably nothing there. I just took Rachaad White. I think he's very undervalued at the running back position, and the running back position is undervalued as well. But I would take White over like a bunch of these guys that just recently got drafted. Like I'd take him over Eckler. I'd take him over Swift. I'd take him over Saquon. I'm taking White over all those guys. And then I think for me right here, it's tough because I kind of have a team where I have AJ, Steph, Pittman. I'm not young, but I'm not old. So like I can kind of go any direction. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot the upside. I've talked bad about him in the future. I've talked bad about him in the past. You know what I'm doing. Going George Pickens, but when they switched from Kenny Pickett and they went to Mason Rudolph, George Pickens looked really good over the back half of the season. So I'm wondering that if it was a Kenny Pickett problem. I was thinking it was a George Pickens problem because we've talked about the separation, not being able to win, in his routes. But he is an elite deep threat. I think that's something we can agree on. As a deep threat, he's been very good at the NFL level. And I think if we talk about what the Steelers could do this offseason, potentially go and get a guy like Russell Wilson. We've heard that rumored. Go get a guy that's a veteran quarterback. I mean, Kirk Cousins is a free agent. What if they're in the market to go get Kirk Cousins? I mean, we've talked about him, getting re-signed to Minnesota, but I don't know. They bring a different guy in. Deontay Johnson probably not going to get another extension here in Pittsburgh. I think Pickens has upside, And you see Matthew in here. He says Pickens is all highlights, and I agree for the most part. Like, I haven't been the biggest Pickens guy in the past, but the upside of that pick, I just like his upside more than I like a Christian Watson or more than I like a Chris Godwin or guys like that. Anthony in here saying take Tony. I can't take Tony, man. I can't take Tony. Never.
That can't be done.
But Ward, talk me through your pick. I'm gonna go grab a tissue. I gotta blow my nose, but talk me through your pick here on stream.
I mean, I really wish I could take a quarterback here, but I just don't see it.
I don't see it. I don't necessarily know who I would take at this pick. I don't know who I would take at this pick, but I would definitely be taking a rookie. 111. And because I looked at the quarterbacks. I was going to pick Geno. And really, if you look at the quarterbacks, it's either guys who don't have a job now or are in danger of losing their job. Then I looked at the running backs. And I could have took one of these running backs, but Andrew will tell you, I really don't value the running back position all that much. I mean, I feel like I get a running back from anywhere at the end of the draft to just try to go wide receiver. My wide receiver room is already strong. I'm not taking QJ because I think QJ is a solidified bust. I'm sorry. Okay. I just don't see it in him, man. I full disclosure, in another league I'm in, we had a supplemental draft, and then one of the guys started complaining because he got skipped, and I gave away QJ. I had QJ. I say, here, take QJ if it'll just keep the draft going. And he was like, okay, I'll do it. But, yeah, man, I'm out on QJ. So I left him sitting right there. I have more confidence in Jameson Williams than I have in QJ, to be honest.
Fair enough. I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, I talked about QJ in a recent video that I recorded, hasn't come out yet, but I said that, where QJ is at this point, as far as value goes, like, he's a guy that if you drafted him, you're kind of stuck with him right now, unless you want to sell him for a significant loss. Like, I can't imagine many people are willing to give you a second round pick for QJ right now. I can't imagine many people will do that. So my thought process is, like, you're probably going to be getting a third round pick if you want to sell QJ. And at that point, you invested a first round pick in QJ. Do you want to sell QJ for a third, or do you just want to hold the bag and see what the hell happens?
Yeah, I have QJ Brando. In another league. I'm dropping him. I'm not dropping him. Tripping. I'm putting on the taxi squad until he proves himself.
Fair enough.
That's all I can do.
Fair
I don't want to waste a bench spot on him. Like,
I agree. I want to talk about a little bit of these picks here. We had Devon Achane come off the board at 7-10. How do you feel about Achane here moving forward? Do you think this is a guy we should be viewing as a top? Tell me where to draw the line. Top 5 running back in Dynasty? Top 10?
I mean, that's fine. I mean, a running back position is just like, you never know. What I would caution every year about 5 changes. It does. What I would caution about Achane is, even if they decide to part ways with Mostert or guys like that, I feel like that offense is always going to want to have a 3-headed monster at the running back position, especially with the diminutive size of Devon Achane. So, yeah, that's what I would worry about with him.
Yeah, you see Brando in here. He said, I kept QJ all season in hopes he would do something. Look, I drafted
put it together.
In a redraft league. I drafted QJ late, and I thought, oh, this is the sneakiest pick in the goddamn league. Like, I'm like, I got him hella late, and this guy could be the wide receiver too. And then especially after Mike Williams went down, I was like, oh, dude, I fell into a lottery pick. And then did nothing the entire year. Just horrible. It was getting outplayed by Josh Palmer, was getting outplayed by, who's the other guy? Jalen Guyton. Like, it was bad for QJ.
Yeah,
and then
man.
I mean, there's not much more to talk about QJ
Jalen
here.
Guyton.
And Brando said, "Yeah, I did the same thing." And so I want to hear your opinion. War. I talked about my Rachaad White pick. I said I thought he was a little bit undervalued. How do you feel about Rachaad White, a guy that I told you at the beginning of the season was kind of undervalued and has some opportunity in front of him? And what the hell did he go do? He gave us a top 6 season at the running back position, and still being drafted. What was that? Running back 18, 17 off the board.
Yeah, he made me lose my ticket last week, but I'm gonna get at a pass because he did have an excellent season. He turned out to be the guy that you said he was going to be at the very beginning of the season, and he proved a lot of doubters wrong. Some people thought that he was going to see carries to freaking Sean. Was it Sean White?
Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker.
Sean White's the snowboarder, bro.
Yeah, Sean Tucker. He thought he was going to be seeding carries to Sean Tucker, and he went out there and did the damn thing. So, yeah, man.
Dude, okay, look at this, man. This is not – oh, my gosh, this is so funny. This is who you thought Rachaad White was losing touches to?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Sean White. God damn, that's funny. But
man.
Look, man, so as we continued going, you obviously talked about the rookie pick that you took. Then we kind of had a little bit of a running back run. We had a tier here where it was Isaiah Pacheco, Javonte Williams, Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, James Cook, Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard. Like this whole little run here. Is there anybody in this tier that you're like, you feel strongly about, or do all of these guys kind of just blend in together for you?
There is somebody in this tier I feel strongly about.
Tell me.
And you might think it was going to be Williams, but it's not. It's actually James Cook. James Cook.
Damn, I was hoping I could get you on the Tajay Spears train.
You know, no, I left that dinner for you. I know that's your boy. So that's why I said let me go to James Cook, because I feel like James Cook is while not on the level of a Rachaad White, I feel like James Cook is one of those guys that showed that he could be the future of that offense.
Yeah,
at the running back position. At the running back, let me clear that up. At the running back position,
especially
not the future of that entire offense.
I agree, especially under their new OC. Like if Joe Brady is their OC long term, like since Joe Brady came to Buffalo, he has been running the hell out of the football, and their run game has gotten a lot better under Joe Brady. So if that is their OC long term, I mean, it obviously looks good for James Cook long term too. Now, if they make a change to the OC, things could change again. But I think James Cook, he's one of these guys that I would feel confident about as well. He's still young compared to some of these other guys. Josh Jacobs a little bit older, Tony Pollard a little bit older. I think for me, man, like when I'm looking at this tier of running backs, there's one guy that sticks out to me. It's Tajay Spears, man. Like we're talking about a guy who is uber talented, like crazy, crazy talented, can do everything, catch the football, run the football, super fast. Like he's just electric, man. And Derrick Henry has basically said his farewells to Tennessee. Now, I did talk about how I didn't love the firing of Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel stays the head coach. Tajay Spears' stock is even better. But Tajay looks like he could be their guy next year. And I know it's like a polarizing topic because everybody is either all in on the Tajay Spears hype train and they feel the same way I feel, where it's like this guy is going to be locked and loaded, probably a top 12 running back if he gets the workload. And then there's other guys who are like, Tajay Spears is just a guy, and they're probably going to bring in a free agent running back to compete with his ass. And so it's like one of two for those people. But I love Tajay Spears. But talk me through your pick war here with Ramondre Stevenson.
Well, Ramondre Stevenson, I feel like guys do lose their job during injury. But for the sake of argument, guys don't lose their job because of injury.
And I'm making the assumption that with Gerard Mayo being the new coach of the New England Patriots, already having familiarity with Stevenson, hoping that he retains him as the lead back once he's back from injury, and just putting him out there and either keeping that running back room the same or adding very little to that running back room. With Stevenson as a guy coming to the season, me and you had to have a debate on if people were too high on him. And it's not necessarily that he didn't achieve that because he didn't produce, he got hurt. So if I could get him this late in the draft, he's only 25. If I could get him this late in the draft, then I'm going to do it. And I feel like that at least will buy me some time until the next rookie draft where I could address the running back position earlier.
I agree. I don't disagree with you. I personally in my running back rankings, I have the guy that I drafted higher than Stevenson, but I understand that there's a pretty significant age gap there that we're talking about. Alvin Kamara being a guy who's a lot older, and that David Montgomery was the other guy that I was looking at. But look at what Alvin Kamara did this year. It's just crazy to think, man. We talked about it in like the fantasy football award show that we did. Like, this is a guy that everybody had written off, and he missed games to start the season due to the suspension, and he still comes in here and he finishes top 11. Like, what the hell? He just balled out. But I do want to note something. This pick could be risky, but I think when we're at this point of the draft, like, I'm looking for a running back 2 on my roster, and I think Kamara has enough high upside that my team can be competitive and have an Alvin Kamara. But I think it's worth noting that Kamara primarily is seeing his value come from the receiving game. If the receiving ever does fall off, we've already kind of seen the running or the rushing statistics fall off for Alvin Kamara. I mean, I'll pull this up one more time just to kind of prove my point. But look at what we've seen for Alvin Kamara over the last couple of years, rushing wise. So you see here in 2020, he almost had 1,000 yards. Then he goes 898, 897, 694. Do you notice a trend here, War, for the rushing? And then look at the YPC, 498, 374, 402, 386. The YPC is coming down. The rushing yards are coming down. Even the attempts are coming down in the rushing category. Now the receiving is still staying up there. That's holding his value. But I think we've seen him become an inefficient rusher. But again, his PPR ability is what holds his value right now.
There's something I learned this past season the hard way,
and
I'm never going to forget it. Yes. When you have a running back who is holding his value with receiving, it's time to get out. It is time to get out. And that's why, and I hate to say it because somebody's probably going to take the pick, because if they don't, I will. Kendre Miller, I think – I understand he didn't have the most glorious first rookie season, but I feel like that's a legitimate threat. I don't think Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, though, he might actually start eating going forward. Oh, don't get me started on Eckler either, Brando.
So I think the upside's still there. We'll see what happens. I think maybe the safer pick would have been David Montgomery. But I don't even know if I needed to grab another running back. I probably could have punted that running back even more, just because I'm built pretty strongly around at some of the other positions. AJ Brown, Diggs, Pittman, Pickens, Brown. I feel pretty comfortable there. Quarterback's fine. But my backup quarterback is going to be Slim Pickens, because we're getting guys like Daniel Jones coming off the board, Will Levis coming off the board, and it's starting to get ugly at the backup quarterback.
It is. That's why I mainly went with Lamar Jackson and just like in 2 young quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Bryce Young, and then whoever I take, one of my picks will be.
Yeah, Daniels or May.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the Zach Charbonnet pick? Because he's one of those guys where you.
Oh God, we got the buffer. Let's see if we can get Ward back in here. This happened last week too. Well, what do I think about Zach Charbonnet? Let's talk about it. For me, I think the Zach Charbonnet pick. God damn it, War. Let me fix this. Brando, I know, man. This happened to him last week. It happened to him this week. It is what it is. Let me try and fix this. Can see me? You can see me? There we go. The Zach Charbonnet pick. It's been to me, this is a pick that I think is a handcuff. I'll tell War that when he gets in here, but I think it's a handcuff pick. I was very high on Zach Charbonnet coming into the draft. A guy that I just thought could be a lot better than he is right now. But the problem is that he got drafted into a backfield where he is going to be competing with one of the best young talents in the NFL, and that just sucks for him. So we'll see what happens there. War, we got it again, man. What the hell happened, bro?
This time, somehow, StreamYard. This time it wasn't the computer, it was StreamYard. So hating on me for some reason.
I said this happened last week. Brando said not the buffer again. But look, man, you asked me how I felt about the Zach Charbonnet pick. I was excited about Charbonnet coming into the NFL. I think for me, man, I've come to the terms that he is a high-end handcuff at this point. I don't see much more in the realm of possibilities for Charbonnet. And in fact, I'll let you in on a secret, War. And I don't know if this is one I really want to say out loud too much, because I am actively trying to sell Zach Charbonnet in some leagues. But I'm trying to re-roll. I think he's a handcuff. And because of that, if I can go back and get another early to mid second round pick, I'm doing it. If I can go re-roll him and try and get a guy in a similar tier, like you see guys getting drafted here, like if I can move Charbonnet for Monty or Charbonnet for Kamara, sign me up. Like I just would rather do it at this point. I think I don't see the path for him at this point.
Here's my logic on Charbonnet. I think there's certain guys who you can look at and they're at the running back position where you're guaranteed production out of their handcuff because the guy's always going to get hurt. And the severity of how he gets hurt could have an impact on your season. While I don't see Charbonnet ever splitting carries with Kenneth Walker like 50-50, I do think Kenneth Walker has a propensity to get hurt.
Yeah. A lot. The way he runs is very aggressive, very hard.
Yeah. Like Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall are two guys where I'm like, I want to have their handcuff. If I have them, I want their handcuffs.
Okay. Fair enough. We are at the point now in the draft war where we are just filling out the bench. We have 5 bench spots left. So I'm interested to see what you do here. Also, we'll try and get through this. We've got a couple guys on auto at the end. They probably set cues, but we'll try and get through this a little bit quicker. I don't want to go longer than an hour and a half. So if we're not finished in the next 20 minutes, we'll just end it where it's at. But we could probably finish this up. I mean, is there anybody specifically that's calling out to you right now on the draft board? The draft board's getting pretty.
Yes.
There is somebody calling out to you.
Yes, only because I was talking about taking him rounds ago, and unless Dewbridge takes him, he'll still be there. So,
okay. I'm interested to see. Is it Kendre?
No, but he's definitely on my radar. He definitely. if we were continuing the draft, he would definitely be in consideration.
Fair enough. I think for me, we'll see what Dewbridge does. He's running it down to the wire right here.
He's probably going. Oh, and
Gino.
The son of a gun took the person I was going to take. So I'm no longer interested in anybody else in the draft. Thank you guys for coming.
That's funny.
But I definitely would have took Gino there because, as I was saying earlier, I have Lamar and 2 young QBs. It would be great. So I mean, for that case, I'm just going to take Derek Carr.
That's who I was going to go.
just so I don't have to depend on youth at the QB2 position. But Derek Carr, man, he was horrible this season. Like,
Dude,
I would much rather have Geno Smith than Derek Carr.
Well, I think that was the last one that I would even pick. I don't know if I'm even going to pick a backup quarterback at this point.
I mean, unless you want to go pick it, he's probably losing his job too.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta take a rookie. You gotta,
Even at this point, we've had enough. Yeah, Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy if he declares or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's looking bad. I guess what I'll do is I'll go back over here to my tight end position. We've talked about this being a tight end premium league. I think there's a couple potential guys that could still have some value here. One guy specifically that I think had a disappointing season, but I still think has value. Pat Freiermuth. So he's a guy that I'll take. Obviously, we spent a lot of this year hurt, but this is a guy who had 2 top 12 finishes to start his rookie and second year in the NFL. He was top 12 at the tight end position. So I'll take him. He'll back up TJ Hawkinson. That's kind of what I'll just roll out at the tight end position. And then I'm going to go back over here to the running back position. There is value down here. We're getting into that territory where it's dangerous, right? Like you're either going to be taking guys that you hope can find themselves into a starting situation, or old guys who are in a starting situation that you hope don't see the running back age cliff. And for this team specifically, a team that has AJ Brown, Diggs, Pittman, Hawkinson, like Kamara, I feel like this is a team that can be competitive right away. So I'm going to try and go get that chip year 1, maybe year 2 if I can extend it. And so for me, I think the most value at the running back position is going to be Aaron Jones. I'll take Aaron Jones and hope that he hasn't fallen off the cliff and really just roll out White, Kamara, and Jones.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's all you really can do. And I did get word from Matt, so my plan would have been messed up to get Jaden Daniels or Drake May, because he said he would have taken Jaden Daniels before me. So I would have been screwed there unless somebody else did take Drake May. So we'll see.
Risky.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty risky.
That's the risk, though. Like, let's talk about that, Ward. When you're doing these startups, oftentimes people want to include the rookie picks because they want to do a startup here in February, March, April, before the NFL draft. So they want to include the startup picks in that and then go back and draft later. I know it's not fun, but I personally like doing startups after the NFL draft where I can include the rookies in the startup. That way I eliminate the risk of drafting the 101 or drafting the 102 and then somebody doing some crazy shit. And then I get, like you said, you would have been screwed out of Jaden Daniels or that was your plan. And now you have to figure something else out. How do you feel about that? Like, do you like drafting the rookie picks in the startup, or do you prefer to wait and just draft the prospect?
I prefer to wait and just draft the prospect.
Look, man, I had that happen in a league last offseason. I joined a startup. We talked about it a little bit. And then by the time we got Malik Mack in here, he says Jalen Waddle is a dog. Dolphins fan. I'm sure he's going to be rooting for the Dolphins today.
He's absolutely a dog.
Anthony says AOC. Aiden O'Connell, I'm sure, but isn't that like another, like some politician, AOC?
Yeah, it took me a minute to.
That's what I thought for a second. I was thinking like whatever her name is, Alexander. What is her name? Alexander something.
Cortez, Cortez, something like that.
So I was thinking that, but then I had to go back into my football mind and say, oh, Aiden O'Connell. But I don't think. Do you think Aiden O'Connell is going to be the starter next year? I can't imagine he's the starter of the Raiders.
I think he's damn well going to try, and I'll expect Antonio Pierce to. If you're a Raiders fan here, I'll expect Antonio Pierce to get that job. I don't think you guys get Jim Harbaugh. He might want to keep it the same. Max Crosby said that he would actually want to trade if Antonio Pierce isn't the coach. So.
I saw that.
And he has a chance, man. Depends on how the guys in the locker room see him. I think they're for sure going to upgrade. I think, honestly, I'll be completely transparent with you. Justin Fields, if they take Caleb Williams, Justin Fields will be the quarterback for either the Falcons, the Raiders, or the Steelers. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. So one of those guys, and I've heard rumors that there are Raiders players on the record saying that Justin Fields is that dude and that they want him on the Raiders. So
okay, fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens. I think I just can't imagine with the influx of rookie QBs coming in this year, plus the potential guys that are going to be free agents. It's hard for me to imagine that Aiden O'Connell is going to keep that job. Like, I just think there's got to be a lot other other swings the Raiders could move for. Like, couldn't they potentially be in like a Russell Wilson sweepstakes? Like, if you take Russell Wilson to the Raiders, like, wouldn't they be a much better football team?
yes,
So like
it will be. But with Russell, I think there's probably circles around the league that think that he might be a little toxic. I don't know.
There probably is.
So, I mean, with Russell, I don't know. There's the potential for Russell to go there and it to get even worse than it was with Aiden O'Connell. Like, that potential is there.
Fair. But it'll be interesting, man. I feel like, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot still to go. But we are rounding out the end of this draft, coming into the last couple rounds. Couple picks here that I want to talk about. Probably some younger guys for the most part. Michael Mayer and Luke Musgrave, the young tight ends coming off the board here in the 12th. How do you feel about those guys?
I considered both players. I considered both. Yeah. Ultimately, I went with the ceiling of Michael Mayer. Like, we're still talking about a guy that, if I'm not mistaken, drafted first tight end off the board.
Second, behind Kincaid.
Oh, see, so that's why I get those two mixed up. That's why I took him.
The first pick of the second round.
Yeah, so I mean that's why I went with him. I mean, Kincaid is both of them together. We'll see. Like me and you said in the previous, bless you. Like me and you said in the previous video, these tight ends they develop at different rates. Everybody's not going to be Sam Laporta. Most of these guys take 3 years to become who they're going to be. So,
yep, I agree. You see, and then I want to talk to you. I'll let you make your pick here, but I want to talk about the Roschon Johnson pick because you're the Bears guy. I kind of want to hear how you feel about Roschon's future outlook with Chicago.
I think that he had the opportunity to seize that position and that he didn't do it. So now the Bears are probably going to seek assistance in the draft for running back help.
You think
that's just where? Yeah, I do. I don't think he did enough, man. I don't think he did enough to. I'm going to go ahead and take a risk here. I don't think he did enough to. After I talked so bad about him in one of our leagues, I don't think he did enough to take that job, and it was right there for him, man. All he had to do was perform. Foreman got benched, Herbert got hurt, Roschon still didn't do anything. So I don't know, man. Maybe he could be the future backup to whoever's going to be the running back.
Yeah,
maybe Saquon's going to be the running back of the Bears. We'll see.
Maybe we'll see. And then we'll circle back around. I'll make my two picks. I'll explain these real quick. I think this guy is being undervalued right now.
Me too.
Mike Williams, the 13th round, at the end of the 13th round. Come on. I mean, is there anybody in Los Angeles that stepped up and showed you that they were going to take Mike Williams' job? I think he pretty much showed you that, yeah, this is my job when I'm healthy, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I just feel like it's too good of a value on Mike Williams.
That guy your curse is on is also being slept on pretty hard, to be honest.
Who was it? Dylan?
Tyler Lockett.
Oh, Lockett. Yeah, it's pretty good value. And look, man, it's gross. And I'm probably going to throw up when I make this pick. And there's a chance that I just burn this pick and throw it out the window here very soon. God. But look, Kenny Pickett, I know we talked about he has the potential to lose his job this season. But when we're looking at the quarterbacks in this round, Trey Lance, backup quarterback. Desmond Ridder, we know he's not going to be a starter next year. Mac Jones, do we think Mac Jones is a starter next year? I say hell no. Jimmy G, Ryan Tannehill, Hendon Hooker, there's at least a chance that they go with Kenny Pickett next year. And if not, do you think there's a chance that another team would look at Kenny Pickett and say, you know what? We can fix him. Do you think there's a chance somebody does that?
No.
No? So I did light the pick on fire.
Because unlike, and I hate to keep bringing him up like, oh, he's a Bears fan. He keeps bringing up
Trubisky.
Like, no, not Trubisky, but Fields. Like, Fields, I think is viewed amongst a segment of fans, a great amount of players, and a good majority of national media that Fields hasn't met expectations because of the Bears, not because of Fields. I also think that if we weren't talking about Caleb Williams, we wouldn't be talking about getting rid of Fields. That said, if you put Kenny Pickett into that same spot, I don't think there's anybody in the fan base, the league, or national media that thinks that Mike Tomlin, Deontay Johnson, Pickens, all those guys, Freiermuth, Najee, like he had enough to do what he needed to do. He didn't do it. So I don't think he's going to have a team saying, I can fix him. There's nothing to fix. Fixing Kenny Pickett is what? Making Ryan Tannehill. So, I mean, it's like that's his ceiling. His ceiling is Ryan Tannehill. So, I mean,
fair enough.
I don't know.
Fair enough. I want to talk about a couple more. I told you we'd circle back around. There's a couple picks that I wanted to talk about. We had a couple of young guys as well. In that 12th round at the back end, we had Michael Wilson for the Cardinals come off the board, and Kendre Miller and Chase Brown come off the board at the beginning. Michael Wilson, obviously a guy that you liked, and also Hollywood Brown is a free agent, unrestricted free agent going into the offseason. They probably played themselves out of the Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes. And so what is Michael Wilson's outlook moving forward? You already talked a little bit about Kendre Miller and his potential outlook, but talk to me about Michael Wilson, and then talk to me about Chase Brown, because Chase Brown played pretty decent behind Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon could be traded or cut this offseason for zero cap hit. It would all be savings.
Interesting, for sure.
Let's start with Wilson.
I think we're talking about Michael, right? I think we have. Yeah. I think he has potential, man. Like Kyler Murray hasn't even had a full. Like he hasn't had a full off season to really get into rhythm. You don't have Hollywood Brown. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent, like you said, unless the Cardinals, who still have a chance to take one of the top wide receivers in the draft. And I mean, you tell me, they said that Neighbors is just as much of a stud as Marvin. So I don't know. It kind of just depends on what they do. I think they're for sure going to take a receiver. So while Wilson might have the opportunity to blossom into something bigger, it could be stunted by them taking someone else in the top of the draft at the wide receiver position.
This late in the draft, though, that's a pretty decent.
It is. Yeah, no doubt. Like, I wish I dug deeper. I would have took him, but yeah, man, this late in the draft, hell yeah.
And then, how do we feel about? Do you think Chase Brown would be the guy for the Bengals, or do you think he's just a backup?
I think he's just a backup.
I agree.
If Joe Mixon isn't there, I think they're going to take somebody.
Fair enough. And then we'll keep moving down the board. We saw the rookie pick come off the board, Matt Schwab, but then Jerome Ford off the board at 1306. Is there a chance that Jerome Ford has no? Okay. All right. I won't even ask the question. Then we had rookie pick, Dobbins, Cam Akers. Talk to me about the Dobbins. You said you took a swing on Dobbins. You said you talked negatively about him.
I did.
So tell me the negative stuff that you said about him, and tell me why you feel like that doesn't matter at this point in the draft.
Because I feel like Baltimore is very loyal to their running backs. I feel like Gus,
clock,
he
by the way.
got yeah. Oh, I don't know who to pick at this point.
Anybody.
Yeah, I'm not picking
Anybody on a
Kadarius
53.
Toney, I'm not picking Toney though, whether I could pick anybody or not. Let's see. Take Bigsby. That was your guy. You know what? I give him one more chance.
Why you gotta put me on blast like that?
I'll give Sky more chance. I'll give Sky one more chance. Like Baltimore is loyal to their running backs. I think that if Dobbins comes back and if Dobbins shows he can be somewhat healthy, I do think he'll have an opportunity to still lead that running back room. Keaton Mitchell, though, we'll see, man. Keaton Mitchell, I know he better not be available. Keaton Mitchell.
Oh, he is. He is available, I think.
Oh my God. See, man,
you gotta scroll, man. I'm sure he's down there somewhere.
Well, no, somebody took him. Somebody did take him.
Oh, somebody did. Oh, yeah, 15-2. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, man, I'm just gonna take a wide receiver at this point. Let's talking about giving a guy one more chance.
Kadarius.
God damn. Rashad Bateman.
I thought about him.
Look, even if he goes somewhere else in free agency, I can't imagine he re-signs with the Baltimore Ravens.
I can't either.
And he's not a free agent this offseason, I don't think. But even if he goes somewhere else, man, like I liked the talent coming in. But let's recap our teams. And then we'll get on out of here, War. So first and foremost, I'll pull this all the way up to the top if I can. And let's go over to, I don't know if I can see. I probably can't see your team, but talk to me through your team real quick, War. Starting at the top.
Let me pull my team up on my handheld mobile device, and then I'll tell you. First I'm going to start the quarterback position. I have Lamar Jackson. And then I'm going to tell you that I did draft a rookie quarterback. I do not know which one it is because since we decided to draft before the actual draft, that's the idea.
It could be Daniels, it could be May, it could be Penix.
It could be any of those guys. I also took a swing with Bryce Young, hoping that he turns it around. But until then, until the rookie either excels or Bryce Young turns it around, I have Derek Carr as a stopgap to hold down my QB2 spot. I completely, almost fully punted on a running back position. I took Ramondre Stevenson, Zach Charbonnet, and J.K. Dobbins. You really can't get any worse in picking running backs. I just punted on the position. However, in turn, I definitely went nuclear on the wide receiver position. I have Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, Marvin Harrison Jr. because that's who I would take. And I also got some bench production in Tyler Lockett, and I hope Sky Moore turns his life around.
There you go.
Tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer. Went with two young guys, a youth revolution, and at the running back position in NFL, and kind of that's what I went with, guys.
Okay, fair enough. For my team, quarterback position, I went Anthony Richardson, Brock Purdy, and then Kenny freaking Pickett, just because I wasn't going to be baited into picking one of these other bad quarterbacks early, so I'll just take a bad quarterback late and risk missing out on the pick. If he's crap, then I still have young Brock Purdy, and I still have Anthony Richardson, who's young as well, and I can draft a rookie quarterback in 2025, 2026, whatever it may be. Running backs kind of did the same thing as you, punted a little bit later. First running back that I took off the board was Rachaad White. Then I got a couple vets behind him, hoping that I could get some more production for another year or two. Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, coming off the board for those running backs. At the wide receiver position, that's really the strong point of this roster. A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman Jr., George Pickens, Hollywood Brown, and Mike Williams, Rashad Bateman to round out the bench. I feel like I got a lot of guys that I can plug and play in that room. And then my tight end position, TJ Hawkinson obviously tore the ACL late, probably going to have him miss the first half of the year at least in 2024. but I think this is a top 3 dynasty tight end. And then I can have Pat Freiermuth to stream while he's recovering from that ACL injury. So that's my team right now. Let me pull this over. That way we can kind of go full screen on them. And then we'll kind of get on out of here. War, I like to ask you this at the end of every time we do a draft, but anything you would do differently after completing the draft?
I would definitely do a little bit something different at the running back position. I feel like I went in on quarterback too much. Maybe I should have went running back instead, because my running back position is a little bit too weak. Maybe just take a running back a little bit earlier, then come back and get Ramondre. I would have been happy with that. I'm very happy with my wide receiver position, and I'm happy with my plan at the quarterback position, but running back and tight end. So really it's just running back. That's what I would do different.
Fair enough. I think for me, I think the only thing that I don't really like is obviously that my backup quarterback is Kenny Pickett. Potentially probably trying to go get a guy a little bit sooner. I think I try to play chicken with the quarterbacks and ended up getting burned in this one, but that's something you could go trade for a Geno Smith or something later in. That's the thing, right? With these drafts, that's not the team that you have at the end of the draft. You can go make moves now. So I think that's something that people should know going into it. And then yeah, really, that's it. Anthony says, War, every player is available for trade. So if you want to go get one of his running backs, you can go trade for one of his running backs. But I will say, look, that is going to conclude our episode today. A little bit longer one. These ones are fun, though, but it's always fun to draft, especially when we got people from the Discord and things like that joining us. I'll hit you with the few, YouTube requirement little talking points that I have to hit you with at the end of every video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That is the best way to support us and support this channel, is to make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That way you see all of our videos when they come out. That's the best thing you can do. Hit the notification bell. That way you are notified when they do get dropped. Also, if you are still here in the stream, I see we got plenty of people in the stream. Make sure you hit that like button before you close out of this video today. That also shows us support. It helps us out long term. So make sure you hit that like button for us today. And last but not least, if you guys want to be in future drafts, I'm sure, War, you and I are going to be doing more startup mock drafts this summer. We're going to be doing probably rookie drafts this summer, a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to be doing on stream, trade shows, all that stuff. If you want to be featured in a video, or you want your trades reviewed, or you want to be in a mock draft, or you want to do any of that stuff with us, the best way to get notified of when those opportunities become available is by being in the Discord. So there's a free Discord link in the description. Make sure you go down into that description, click that Discord link, and join that Discord. It is free to join, so make sure you do that. There is no risk in doing that. So with all of that being said, War, the floor is yours. Shout out what you want to shout out, and we'll get on out of here.
Yes, I want to echo everything Andrew just said. Follow League FFB for all of your fantasy football content. And if you're interested, and even if you're not, if you just want to show support for the co-hosts of Let's Talk Dynasty, go ahead and follow the Crimson Mask Show. Link is in the description. Hope.
Yes, it is.
Go down and check us out. We're burgeoning here, and we're trying to get something started. And we're trying to do our thing just like we're doing over here at the League FFB. And we're happy to have you guys here. Please check us out every time we make content, both for the League FFB and Crimson Mask Show.
Absolutely. And look, guys, that's all we have for you guys today. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of a teaser, but there is big news coming to the channel here very soon. War, you're familiar with my news, but big news coming to the channel here very soon. Probably about 2 weeks away from giving you guys that news, but I just wanted to leave you with a little teaser so you could wonder. We'll see you guys on the next episode, though. So until then, peace out, guys.